on Saturday against a very experienced opponent and a huge, huge crowd coming for you just round the corner of the Copper Box on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Johnny Fisher versus Dave Allen 2 press conference. I gotta tell you, man, Eddie Hearn can sell a fight. He gets me hype. You know, you look at that fight card on paper, and a lot of you American fans might not even recognize any names. This fight card goes down in London, and the True Blue fight fans will know some names on this fight card. Kieran Conway's on this fight card, Johnny Fisher, the Rumford Bull, Davey Allen. But then you watch Eddie Hearn during this press conference explain who these fighters are, and he sells the fights. And I'm like, damn, I want to cover all these fights. All these domestic British fighters are exciting. But today, this live, guys, I'm doing a recap from last night. We covered the Goodman versus Vaca card. I won the lock bet. There you go. Appreciate you, man. Everyone who's tuning into this, thanks for the tips. I appreciate you guys coming back to the channel. Wherever you're watching at, like this video. The only thing I ever ask from you guys is just like the video, because that's all you could. I do the research, I do the editing, I'll upload, and I'll keep you guys up to date on what to watch and how to make the money. All I ask for you guys, just like the video. That's all we could do together. We learn, and we're going to continue to grow. I put a lot of effort into this, guys. You know that. I'm not just going to get on here and do a video or upload a video and just lie to you guys or tell you to waste your money. And I also want to mention that I don't do this for the gambling. Once again, I can't talk about it enough. I only started doing my prediction videos about 6 months ago because you guys asked me to do it. And boxing's been part of my life since I was 7 years old. And so it's good to keep sharing it. Guys, we're hitting, man. We hit 14 leg parlay last week. You guys know that. The week before that, that was a 7. So that was 21. And then yesterday, on the money line, I might have to start changing the name of the show to just Money Line. The Money Line King. We hit 9. We picked them all right. And if you would have followed the live on Monday, I actually made 2 pivots, which helped us. Because on Monday during the live, I was taking the Sudanese fighter, Lual, to beat Fawcett. And then during my research, I remember I was like, Jason Fawcett, I've seen him fight before. Because sometimes when I'm reading the names on paper, it doesn't always connect who they are unless I'm doing film study, right? And when I saw that name Fawcett, I was like, oh, this kid is a dog. So we switched out Lual and put Fawcett, which was the right decision on our 9 leg. And then also the Wade Ryan fight. On Monday during the live, I had seen Wade fight the last few years of his career, but I was like, Fati, how do I know? That kid fights out of Bondi Boxing Club. I've seen him spar before. I've seen, and then we switched that, and those 2 fights both came through for us. Because if we would have kept the original parlay on Monday and not changed it like we did yesterday, we would have lost. So it's just a sign of like, never stop doing your research, and then also follow your instinct. And we lucked out. Hopefully you're winning money. Hopefully you're listening. I want to talk about those locks. The iffy, I gave you guys my iffy 10-1. Fawcett, Evich, Fati, 10-1, all came through. The 9, we hit Trahella, Adams, Kazi, Parr, Fawcett, Evich, Garside, and Goodman. And I was at the fights, guys. Let's see. Let's get some of your comments from New Zealand. The Kiwis, tough as nails. Toughest dudes I've ever sparred from New Zealand. No offense to anyone else who ever taps in that I've sparred. But, man, you got to hit you boys with a fire hydrant. I think the boxing is the highest win rate for favorite dogs. Mate, you know why? Because boxing, and that's what I'm learning, is in terms of gambling, you get a lot of what my old coach would say, feeder fights. If you're having a show in Sydney like we had one last night, a lot of the same gyms will be representing different fights. And so with that comes in, you're paying for your opponents. A lot of feeder fights, you're paying for your opponents' flights, you're paying for the belts if it's a regional belt, and we know who's supposed to win. So if you're smart with it, you can make a lot of money, and that's what we're doing. I think boxing. Can you do a video on Aaron Sutton and George Littard? I'm going to do that, Mac. I got those, because I do want to mention, guys, we got boxing coming up. It doesn't just end here. I just uploaded my prediction of Kieran Conway and Jerome Warburton. That's on the English card. But on that card, there's some good fights. George Littard, Aaron Sutton. We'll get to that in a little bit. The Stephen Ivich was crazy. Did you guys watch that fight? I think we're in the 3rd row. The place was going insane. And I felt the fight could have been stopped in the 6th round. Ivich had Tuese out on his feet. And you got to give it to Tuese. That dude is a dog. I thought he was going to ruin our whole parlay. And we were sitting behind some really cool cats from Sydney who had like thousands on Tuese. So I only bet $100 to win like 2,000, right? I'm not betting to get rich. I'm betting for entertainment. So when I meet a dude behind me who has 2,000 on the parlay to win 20,000, the way I am as a person, I'm cheering for him to win, even if that meant I was gonna lose. And it was a hell of a fight, man. I wonder what that fight looks like on video, because when you're live, it's hard to take in everything. So I'm gonna rewatch that today. But yeah, to answer your question, Mac, I'm gonna do a Littered and Aaron Sutton video as well. Loving the consistent live streams. Goat, appreciate it. It was just an idea you guys gave me. I was doing live streams here and there over the last 12 months, but then over the last 8 weeks, the channel's really growing, and I've really put more effort and energy into treating it just like how I treat I work for myself, so I run my own fitness company. I transformed my garage into a gym, so I do private training sessions. So a lot of my clients are corporate Australians who are bankers, financiers. They work in the corporate world in the city. And the way the topography of Sydney is, I only live like 6 miles from the city. So they come to my house. But the way I treat my business, my one-on-one coaching business, the way I treat I write. So there's 2 books of mine back there. I was like, I need to start treating my YouTube boxing channel the same way I treat that stuff. And that's where the live stream came idea, because it was like, I'm doing these video edits that, like, I uploaded a 10-minute video today. It's only 10 minutes, the breakdown of the Warburton versus Kieran Conway fight, but that takes 2 hours. You know, you got to study, you got to read, you got to film, you got to record, then you have to edit. And I was like, how else can I add more value to my channel and be more efficient? And that's why I've been doing the live streams. Bad thing, Johnny, the Ryan Garcia fight, but I know. We can't win them all, Rappy's bet. We can't win them all. And who had but Rappy, if you go to my video breakdown of Ryan versus Raleigh, my saving grace is, I told you guys, I said this in my breakdown, I was like, my heart is with Raleigh. I was like, I'm cheering for Raleigh to win, but my wallet was with Ryan. And I mean, there's never ever guarantees in this game. Anything can happen. That's what makes the sport so awesome. Guys, wherever you're tuning in, like this video, just hit the like button. YouTube sees these lives, and the more the likes they get, they'll suggest this to other people who are in our space, other boxing fans, other people who want to learn about the sport. More lock bets, Johnny. Yeah, so the more lock bets this weekend. We got that Serhii Boacek card in California. Salvador Pineda. We couldn't bet in Michigan, but I thought Raleigh was going to win too. Oh, you thought Raleigh was going to... See, Sal, I was cheering for Raleigh, but I didn't pick him to win on my fight card. I thought Ryan was going to win. You know, who could have expected that? And it was really telling to see Ryan's performance. He was never the same after getting caught with that lead hook. I think when he got dropped in the second, he wasn't able to overcome that psychologically. And it's just a good reminder of how mentally the sport is. We like to look on paper. I mean, how many times have you guys seen fighters at the weigh-ins jacked, looking really imposing, looking bigger, more athletic than their opponent, and then they go out and lose? So it's one of these sports that the casual would think that it's all about power and knockouts and blood and size and aggression. But more often than not, the guys who make it to the highest level, who have the more successful careers, are the smartest. It's a thinking man sport. And what happened last night in the heavyweight Australian clash that we mentioned here, Ivic versus Tuese, is that Tuese, his only chance of winning, Tuese, if I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. His only chance of winning, we knew going into it, was to knock him out. And we knew that Ivic was the better boxer. But somewhere around 4th or 5th round, Tuese lured Ivic into a dogfight, and Ivic couldn't fight his urge, his primal instinct to not fight Tuese's fight, and he almost got knocked out. He almost ruined our parlays. We're screaming. We're like, dude, because when Ivic is boxing and he's using his footwork and using his long jab and he's circling away from Tuese's power, he's winning that fight. He's winning every round. He was up on the scorecards. But these are fighters, and you never know what happens until you're in a fight on the decision-making process of, can you fight that urge? One of my favorite fighters was Arturo Gatti, and you could watch fight after fight, fights that he won, fights that he lost. You could hear his corner begging him to fight and begging him to box. Because the thing about Gatti, his downfall would be, one of his flaws is you knew that when you fought him, you could lure him into a dogfight. when he was at his best, watch Mickey Ward versus Gotti the first fight, rounds 1 through 3. You see Gotti on his toes, jabbing, exiting, great movement, beautiful hands, beautiful counters. But round 3, he gets caught. And then from that round onwards, including the rest of that fight and fights 2 and 3, it was just a dogfight and a war. And you could hear his corner, Arturo, box, Arturo, stop fighting. So these are things that happen in the ring that as analysts and fans like us, it's tough to predict. So it's what makes our sport the greatest sport on the world, in my opinion. Johnny, do you bet live? So betting live is a feature that Muscle Brown, I'm trying to learn from Muscle Brown. If you guys don't know Muscle Brown, he's been on my show a couple times. We've done a few live streams together. We talk almost every day. He's a professional sports bettor. The betting live component, I don't like doing anything in my life that I'm not 100% sort of understand. So it's something I'm interested in because that's in real time if that serves me correct. So we could be watching a fight and our guy could be the dog and then he could have a good round and the odds immediately switch and then you have to call. And so I haven't done that yet, but that's interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of money to be made there. That's why I started to do your advice, just bet 100 on a lock bet. Yeah, but you're a dog 2 straight bet parlay. They give 15, 21, 1. Yeah, I can't win them all. But you're a dog 2 straight bet parlay. They give 15, 20. Yeah, right? I mean, those parlays 15 to 1 odds, 22 to 1 odds. So the buddy I went with last night to the fights, he put 1,000 on the 22 to 1. He's a director in a tech company. He's also one of my clients. So our relationship is we spar a lot. And he's a huge boxing fan. He put 1,000 on the 22 to 1 and won 22 Ks. And I'm sitting there like, yeah. So that's what I want. I want you guys to make money, correct? But you don't have to call. You can just make the live bet on. Okay, so Goat. So your app, I assume you're in America. I think you're in America. We speak all the time. So you could bet a live bet without talking to someone because our betting down here, and this is believe it or not, even though I'm doing a live stream talking to people I've never met in real life, I'm actually pretty introverted unless you know me, which won't make sense to you guys. It's hard for me to go up to strangers and talk to. So on my betting app, when it says bet live, I have to call someone. I'm like, I'm good. I'm straight. I ain't calling you. So it would be a lot different if it allowed us to bet live and just do it without talking to an operator. But down here, they force you to have a human-to-human interaction before you do another bet. But I think I'd adhere to that feature if we were allowed to do it just digitally. I see we're still having a Garcia-Haney rematch in October. It's interesting. We'll see how that build-up, we'll see what Cedric, did they announce that officially? Sal, Johnny, you American living in Australia. Yeah, Sal, I grew up in Northeast Ohio, my hometown. People who follow my channel, Ernesto, yeah, I'm female. I transitioned, Ernesto. But Salvador, people who follow my channel know my story. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, Northeast Ohio, and then I ended up living in Long Beach, California during college, and then lived in Las Vegas, and then moved to Sydney in 2013. So I've been in Sydney for about 12 years. We can bet live in New Zealand. Hemi, the Bet365 feature, you don't have to talk to an operator? If that's the case, I'm going to download it because we have Bet365 in Sydney too. Not officially yet. All right. Yep, I'm in Delaware, and this DE Delaware, and it's very interesting, the differences of betting around the world. Yeah, when I moved here in 2013, gambling is part of the culture. I talked about this yesterday on our live, is like one of the biggest culture shocks for me. And I was coming from Las Vegas. In 2013, I moved from Las Vegas to Sydney, and the big culture shock for me getting to Australia was how ingrained in the culture gambling is. Everything from the doggies to the horses to the NRL to the boxing. Get a punt, get on the punt. Do you have a punt? Please don't get an Aussie accent. I'm old. I think it's too late for me to get an accent. Goodman won a decision, Aaron. That is correct. And the fight, it was a typical Sam Goodman fight. He's not going to really sit down on his punches. He only has 8 knockouts. Doesn't really have one punch knockout power. Good fight IQ, good fight skills, but isn't really going to wow the crowd. I don't know if he's going to get that anyway fight. I think he really dropped a bag getting cut. The more I watch boxing, the more I see clinching can dictate the flow. Yeah, and clinching is a tactic. Clinching is one of these things that you could either use early in a fight or late in the fight. Good morning from Brisbane. Tehio, Brisbane. People sleep on Brisbane, man. Every time I go up there to visit with my girl. Cedric, thanks, man. I appreciate these tips. That's something new to me. I didn't even know you guys could do that. I appreciate that. We have Saturday Night Fight Night, Sunday Night Fight Night. John, can't wait for you to do some tips. Rappy, we're doing it, bro. I already gave you guys my prediction on the undercard in the UK, but I'm going to be doing the main event with Johnny Fisher, and I'm going to be doing that Serhii Bohacek card. Guys, I'm going to go over, here's some fights we got. And I already got a parlay working. I got the parlay I have working right now is an 8 legs, but I'm going to do videos on 4 of these fights. And just so you guys know what to expect, some of these fights that I'm betting on, John Hughes, $1.09. All these odds are low. So this is like yesterday I put 100 to win 2,000 on the 22-1. I took 1,000 out to put in my bank account, and so I kept 1,000 in, and this 1,000 pays 4-1. So if I hit this, the 1,000 that I left in will turn into 4,000, and the odds are just $1.09, $1.07, $1.10, $1.14, $1.28, $1.07, $1.04, and $1.06. So that's the way I'm betting. I'm not Muscle Brown. Muscle Brown's out here putting 50 G's to win 80 to win 35. That's the move. Can you show your Rappy? I do. So Rappy, I put my parlays in the community section. So go to my channel, and then when you there's a tab, you see videos, shorts, you see playlists, and then you'll see posts. Click on the posts. You'll see all the parlays that I put. I even put them up when I lose. Also, Rappy, if you guys want to see the receipts for my video breakdowns of me predicting this, go to playlist and just click on predictions. So I have a whole playlist titled predictions of my breakdown analysis and prediction videos. So yeah, Sal, Michigan sucks for betting now. I can't bet on St. Canelo or why? Thanks, Sal. Why can't you bet on? That's it. I did not know what's going on in the States. I thought it was a universal thing that everybody in America could bet. Is it me or are there a lot of fixed fights? Raw Dog. This is why there's a lot of money for us to make. Raw Dog. This is what I'm talking about. So I was at I don't know if I want to say fixed, right? But I was telling my buddy when we were at the fights last night, the boxing gym I grew up in Northeast Ohio when I was a little kid, we would call them like feeder fight. There's a lot of feeder fights. You know, I used to promote a girl from Bondi Boxing Club down here in Sydney. I promoted her for 3 fights, and I learned a lot from the promotional side of things in terms of where the money comes from. So let's say you have a fighter and you're promoting the fighter and you're coaching the fighter and you want them to come up through the ranks. The only way to really do that if they don't have a good amateur pedigree is you have to pay to play. So the girl that I was promoting, luckily I had an investor. What would happen is she would bring fighters, feeder fighters from Thailand, girls that they had a box rec, but they didn't come over to win. Now, we would pay for, this is crazy. We would pay for their flights. You would pay for their hotels. If there's a regional belt on the line, you would even pay for the belt. You have to pay for the referee costs. You have to pay for the ringside doctor costs and your corners. So when we say fixed fights, we would call them feeder fights. And us gambling on these fights last night, while we won 9, 5 of those 9 fights were like $9s. And I was telling my boy, I was like, these are feeder fights. These fighters are going to win regardless unless somebody slips and falls and there's a gash and the fight gets stopped, etc. The 2 fights which made me look good that were pick'em 2-1s were the ones that could have gone either way. The Wade Ryan fight, which we picked Fadhi, we won that, and then the heavyweight title could have gone either way. But even the Sam Goodman fight, Goodman's camp flew out Cesar Vaca. Vaca didn't have to pay for flights. He didn't have to pay for his hotels. There was no belt on the line. But when you're looking at a lot of the domestic Australian fights, those are feeder fights. I mean, a lot of these guys are fighting guys from Thailand who are traditionally Muay Thai fighters who, and if you know anything about Muay Thai fighters, they're tough as nails, but they don't really have hands. They don't have like Western boxing hands. It's why if you guys are boxing's not the, I watch all combat sports, so I'm going to drop some names here. So when you look at Muay Thai and kickboxing, there was a Dutch kickboxer named Ramon Dekkers. Ramon Dekkers is one of the most legendary strikers of all time. Rest in peace. He passed away, unfortunately, on a bicycle. But when Ramon Dekkers took his Dutch kickboxing style to Thailand and was knocking out the Thais, John Wayne Parr, an Aussie, another Muay Thai fighter, the Thais struggle with big punchers because it's in the Thai style, even how they spar, they tap a lot. They tap a lot. The volume is crazy. The pace is crazy. But the Dutch style and the Western style boxing is we sit down on punches. You have big, heavy hands. So when you're in boxing in Australia and it's a boxing match and you're bringing ties over, you know who's going to win these fights. Long way of me telling you guys what's going on. I'm edging, just curious. Why don't you bet super heavy? You're natural. GOAT, because I ethically, you know, I don't gamble to get rich. I gamble to keep me to. It's part of entertainment for my channel. But I'm thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? That's why boxing is the best. I feel you on that. Rappy, I'm learning. Said, everyone in America could bet, but only the states that have regulated. If you live in a state like I do, you live in South Carolina? I lived in Kakalaki from 2001 to 2002. I played short season minor league baseball. This is something you don't know about me. For the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. 25 years ago, I lived in Myrtle Beach 01 to 02, right on the Intercoastal Waterway in these apartments called River Landing. Damn, that was a different world. South Carolina, you simply can't get offshore account because I'm not able to do FanDuel. Johnny, what's your bet again? What's your bet again? 4-1. Do Mosley throw that fight in Australia? Dog, I was at that fight. Mosley came in with an injury, and Mosley should have never fought that fight. You know, he had to pull. I think it went 3 rounds. The fight got stopped, lower back. Shane was already injured, so Shane was doing his best just to get that payday. And we all know a healthy Shane. He was out of his prime. People sleep how good Shane Mosley was, man. Shane was one of my favorite fighters in his prime. How athletic and how gifted was he? What's your bet again? 4-1. Rappy, what do you clarify that for me real quick? What's my bet again? 4-1. Not from last night, but this weekend. Guys, if you're watching this right now, like the video. It's going to help the video grow. All these comments, leave your comments. Also, if you're not catching this live, this will be up on our playlist video section as well. I do that with all my lives. Also, if you haven't caught my new video, it just got uploaded about 30 minutes ago. It's my breakdown and prediction. I tell you where to put your money on the Kieran Conway and Jerome Warburton fight. Stay tuned to the channel. I'll be doing the Johnny Fisher versus Dave Allen 2 fight card, as well as in America, the return of Serhii Bohachuk. We last saw Bohachuk against Virgil Ortiz. He dropped Virgil a few times. Some people even thought Bohachuk won that fight. It's his return. So I'm going to be covering those fights in detail as well, doing a breakdown analysis and giving you my prediction. I need to take note. I need to bet it early so the odds will not lower. I bet so I can waste it all. Hemi, the big fella. And then I'll fill my the big dog. See, Hemi, I lived in Vegas for 2 years. I did all that when I was young. This stage of my life, I live like a samurai. You know what I'm saying? I drink water. I'm in bed at like 8 p.m. I wake up at 5 a.m. I don't party. But I did all that in my 20s and 30s. I'm in my 40s now. Once you get to your 40s, man, you got to make some adjustments. At least that's what I made all my adjustments in my 30s. Guys, stay tuned to the channel. I appreciate you. Everyone who likes it. You guys leaving tips. I didn't even know you guys could leave tips. That's super humbling for me. That's amazing. I can't thank you enough. Even if it's $1, I thank you. I know how tough it is out there. Like, share, subscribe. We're doing lives almost every day. Interact with the channel. I appreciate you guys.